This meeting of the School Board of Trustees Committee of, is subject to the open meeting law, is being recorded in accordance with sections 2-2-301, 2-3-202, 2-3-203, and 2-3-214 Montana Code Annotated. All members of the board, committee, staff, and public in attendance are advised that the public portions of this meeting will be recorded in both an audio and video format. Cameras and recording devices are placed throughout the meeting room to complete these recordings. Everyone in attendance is reminded to honor basic rules of decorum during the meeting and guidance associated with providing public comment as stated in policy 1420F. By remaining in the meeting, those present consent to being recorded and displayed in the footage that will be posted on the school district's website. Welcome everybody. There will be an opportunity for community comments on non-agenda items at the end. We're going to adjust our schedule a little bit. We're going to start with the high school AC bids.
Okay, so we had two bids for the high school AC project. One was from B&B Builders, the other was from Corlin Construction. We'll open these and then take a look at. Make sure both of them have the new addendum. Maybe. Oh, yeah. So the first bid is from B&B. I'm going to start with just the amount that we have in here for the project. So the base bid price is $863,106. They have their contractor certification, some references. Okay, I'll send this down. So this one's for B&B. Okay, base bid price for Portland is $904,700. And Tracy and I can take a look at all of the components of these just for you to review. I think probably the first discussion we need to have is going to be cost of the project. As you look at this, like, yes, we definitely would love to have AC in the gym, but that's certainly not it's not a necessity. It's something that we would love to have done. Like I said, it would help out in the summer, sometimes in the spring, and also for your fall. I know that when Corey sent it out, I think we had budgeted what he thought was an estimate, of course, of $600,000, just so we kind of have an idea on that. If you look at the building reserve right now, it's sitting at $750,000. And the high school flex is at.
Didn't we have some other money that we'd set aside? No.
I think we just had planned on using the high school flex, but then we had to take that and put it in the interlocal fund.
Yeah. Where am I at here? Oh, it's his building, I guess, right? Tracy.
Oh, the extra money too.
Yeah.
We were thinking of using extra money.
Yeah.
but then-
Oh yeah, that grant
we came in, the difference in what we thought it was gonna be and what it is.
Yeah,
2,700,000.
it's probably about 2,200,000 now.
Okay. But the difference in cost, we've got about that same amount in, oil and gas revenue, more than we budgeted for. So even though it came in higher than we thought, we're kind of where we thought we would be anyways.
We're probably gonna have to look into doing another transfer to the interlocal fund from the flex.
We always do. Yeah.
Okay, so that's, yeah. So I mean, to me, like, that's just a discussion I think we have, and then we make a decision and move forward. I guess I have a couple questions. We could maybe ask our contractors a couple questions on this.
Yeah.
Because,
No, absolutely.
I know, there's been a few people are curious about how long they're thinking the project could potentially last, like start dates, and the potential length. So like Sean and John, you're both in here, if you have maybe an idea to just give us some information like that.
Yeah, so we figured, roughly about a 2.5 month, timeline. So,
And you were thinking starting like June 1-ish?
yeah, basically it's, as soon as it's available after school, that's out.
Okay. 2.5-ish. And obviously these aren't gonna be exact, I mean, I know that, but.
Yeah.
And then Sean, what were you thinking?
Basically the same thing, starting day after Memorial Day, when school's out by then, and being done by the deadline of August 15th. That was put into the
Yep.
advertisement.
Right.
Your target completion was August 15th. So.
Okay. And then. I think if I should ask or not. Obviously, like, the scope of work, I mean, you would be the contractor on the job.
Yep.
Do we have subs lined out, do you know of?
The subs that gave me bids for the project would be the subs I would use, so
Okay.
if you guys decide to go forward and if I'm awarded the job, they're on board for the project.
Sure. I mean, for me, it's always thinking about if we need maintenance or something like that done on it, understanding the location of the subs and things like that, just kind of generally for us. It's nice to know that you're gonna have somebody to work on something if we need them to.
Yeah.
And it,
I use local subs.
Okay.
and same for us, we have, the HVAC side was Frontier, Prairie was the electrician.
Sure.
There was some structural steel that we had to get, for the bracing and stuff. That
Sure.
was outsourced out of them.
So local subs.
Yep.
And then, and I know Corey had addressed this a little bit, and it's always a concern, I think, for us, just with timing of projects. Is there any concern about getting materials in on time for the beginning date for the project?
Not at this point, if it's awarded relatively soon. I mean, if we wait for an award and notice to proceed till May 1st, then there's a major problem. So
Hopefully we'll give you more.
So time is kind of of the essence if
Yep.
the board decides to go forward.
Okay. Anything I'm missing?
So, I haven't looked through the scope of work. What restrictions are we gonna have in the gym for the summer? Any?
It'll be down.
Completely restricted.
Okay.
Is there, okay, I need to ask, because I was asked this by somebody with a pretty strong interest in access to the gym in the summertime in early June. Is there exterior work that can be done, let's say for a week in June, that would allow them access to the gym?
In my opinion, interior work needs to start immediately. And to do so, we gotta cover the entire floor, just to protect the hardwood floor. And while that work and demo of ceiling
first is a bad time,
Yeah.
and maybe even a week before.
That's when I close it down in August, I don't know, first September.
Right.
Stretch it longer.
Yeah, or you can push that schedule back and keep the gym closed a little bit longer, then we could maybe, you know.
Hopefully it goes faster than that, and you still make the deadline.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is that we're in, I mean, and just like Sean said, we're gonna cover the entire floor with a protective membrane, and then we're gonna lay sheeting over the top of that, so we're not damaging the floor. And so we would install, and then have to uninstall, and then have to reinstall.
Right.
Yep.
If that was the case.
Yep, I get it.
Yeah.
Now, I think we should, personally, because I think I know what event is happening this,
Right.
but I do understand.
And it's, yeah.
Is there any other limitations within the school building, or is it just?
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit, kind of that whole area down there would be shut down. Weight room is probably okay.
Yeah, so,
Yes.
and if it was shut down, it'd be temporary.
Yeah, and we talked to, like, Mr. Dennison talked to all the contractors that were there for that, the day that we did the walk around. If we were to do summer school, we'd coordinate with them on entrances. I mean, at least we have, 735 doors in the high school, so we'll find a way to get them in if we have to.
Right.
So I think as far as any of the other summer activities that would happen within the building with academics and things like that, maintenance needing to get their work done, I don't think there's gonna be an issue with that. We'll just have to coordinate with, the contractor for those.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we go with it, we're gonna be doing it no matter what. It's just kind of a.
Right. Yeah.
What are we gonna have access to and what are we not?
Right.
And, okay. Anyone else have any questions, concerns, comments?
Yeah, I mean, open to whatever everyone thinks. Does anybody else wanna see it?
I just have concerns of local being able to get the job done. Because we've had these problems with our other schools with air conditioning and heating, and we've had to pay to have it redone. So, I don't know, that's my biggest concern, because that's a non-stop problem we have even now with this heating and air conditioning, making sure they run, and we gotta pay umpteen different people outside source to keep them running. So, that's a big concern to me, but you guys have the faith, you guys are the contractors on it to push it, so.
It's a tough call, right?
It's a really tough call.
We
I don't
want
know, I
local so we
just-
can have support, but we don't know if local can get it done.
Yeah.
And we do have like, as far as calling goes, I'm sure Sean has like relationships, but we do have a very good relationship with the local subs that we do use.
Yeah.
As far as calling is concerned, we've never missed a deadline in any of the work that we've ever done.
Okay.
So, without unforeseen
Yeah.
instances, but we've never missed that deadline, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is like for like, right?
I mean, that's what I think Tracy and I need to kind of.
They were both given the same scope of work.
They were given the same scheme of, scope of work. There was an addendum that came in last week on replacing, okay, so if you go into the high school gym and you look up at they put the acoustics in for that. They've had different speakers and things like that on those. So the one thing we thought about doing while we're doing this project is to replace all of those that are, or they've got big holes in them or whatever. And I think that was at the one addendum that they added to it.
Yeah.
We asked them to maybe look into doing that so it all matched when they're done. And then the other was, there was a piece to it, maybe this wasn't even an addendum, but it was like painting the vents so they match, so it didn't look like our old ones versus new.
Yeah.
Yep.
I believe there was also some additional tiles for future use,
Okay.
if we do get additional damage. I think that was also in there.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think that was it for addendums though, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause obviously we've had that issue in the past.
Yes.
We have. So, as long as we're talking, apples to apples here, and,
Who comes in and fixes the stuff that's not broken?
two main, local people that the school uses is, Frontier and Am I missing anybody on that, Carl?
What kind of, I mean, warranty type stuff is included within it?
Typically you see, it'll call it out on the spec, but it's, typically 1 year, manufacturer's warranty, and then the warranty for correlative construction, if anything happens, in 1 year, that would fix it. But I'd have to look back through the specs to be specific, but they might have an extended warranty that they've required. That I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes architects or engineers put a longer warranty, whether it be by manufacturer or by labor, by the contractor.
So the one thing that I would say, if we decide to make a decision tonight, which is fine, one way or the other, it would be good to put a contingent on Corey taking a look to make sure we have an apples to apples. So I would say you can approve it. It's kind of like when we do the pending background checks kind of a thing for, and that turnaround would be within a day. I can get Corey that information, he can get it back to me, and then I can contact, whoever, let them know, yeah, everything's good to go. If that's something that you want to do. I don't think it's ever a bad idea to check on that, just to make sure that we know that everything that we thought we were getting is included, and it should be.
I don't know. Yes. It's a lot of money, but everything's a lot of money.
And it's only gonna get worse before it gets better.
No, absolutely. We're a bundle of contradictions sometimes, right? We are limiting access and use of our facilities, but then wanting to put more money into our facilities to make them more accommodating.
Right.
As Tom gets a smile on his face.
How does this affect our heating system, part of it?
The heating in the gymnasium,
Yeah.
it won't affect it at all. Because they're putting 3 new units up, they're replacing 2 units and 1 additional air conditioning unit. So it's not gonna affect the heating at all.
Okay.
The controls are tied together.
Yeah.
What's that?
The controls are tied together, but they're not the same.
Yeah.
And they'll work together?
So there's a good.
No, nothing pushing towards central school or anything, but
So it'll be tied into our MTI system that we currently have, the 2 units that they're replacing. Right now, they're just a heating and an air exchange unit. It'll add on an air conditioning unit for both. That'll be the normal standard usage. It'll do both hot and cold. And then the 3rd unit will be an auxiliary 3rd. So when we have events or we have massive call, that unit will be kicked on.
Okay.
We should be able to regulate in the wintertime like we can right now. So like when 2C's in there, the idea of turning on your air conditioner isn't really
motion to push forward on the air conditioning pending Corey to look over the bids. That's my recommendation.
Well, we gotta pick somebody before we do anything else.
Yeah.
No one yet, we haven't approved a bid or accepted a bid yet.
Yeah. Any other comments? I don't.
It's always hard, right? You're literally staring people in the face over a big project.
Yeah.
The reality is, you know, I think we've used both companies in the past. The community has used both companies in the past. There's not an issue with either company. You know, this isn't a case where we've got a bid from someone out of town that we're not sure if they're, you know, if their bid is legit or not, or if they're gonna stick to what they did because they can just disappear because they live in, you know, 4 hours away. I don't care. I think we got two viable bids. Obviously, Corey will approve. You know, we'll sit through and let us know. But you know, being that it's a big project, I say we got to save money when we can.
Yep.
So I can't make a motion, but my
Yeah.
thought process would they go with B&B with their bid pending Corey's approval.
And that's what I would have to say myself. We've got to go with the lowest bid. Like he's saying, you know, we've used both companies within our schools a lot, both very dependable. But we got to go. My suggestion would be to go to the lower bid, just to, you know, it's $40,000. So I would make that motion to go with B&B pending on Corey looking at everything and go forward with it.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Alex seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, I will get this out to Corey tomorrow, and I will be in contact with, I'll email all of you when I hear back from him, so it's tomorrow, and then I'll get in contact with Sean to let him know when I find out from Corey, and that, like I said, should be tomorrow.
Okay.
Really appreciate both of you bidding.
Absolutely.
And like, Ben said, we've had both of you both have done great work with us. It's almost unfortunate that you came so close together, because it makes it even easier then, right? But, definitely appreciate that you were willing to bid the project, so.
Yeah, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Everybody have a good night.
Yeah, you guys too. So we'll go back to the administration report.
Yes, and we have students here, I'll let them go, and then I'll get into my portion.
Okay.
Were you not prepping that whole time? You had like a half hour? No? Just kidding. I think they're here to talk, aren't they?
Are you talking? Anybody? Anyone?
I know three of them are. I don't know what's
Weren't you supposed to have somebody else come with you today?
No, our representative to the board is busy tonight, so.
Oh, okay.
My name is Zoe Garjo. I'm the student body secretary, and I have our quarterly report. So starting off with our sports, the boys and girls basketball teams are in the midst of their seasons with the divisionals right around the corner. Both teams have continued to improve through hard work this season and dedication that has not gone unnoticed. Both teams are at chance of playing games, but we hope to see them both at the Metro in February. The wrestling team has had an amazing season and continues to prove that their intense training pays off, taking home second place at Class A duels and divisionals with 16 boys and 5 girls advancing to state. They are preparing to bring home another state championship to pay off for all their hard work. Our cheerleaders have been working hard this winter season, getting ready to perform at Cheerfest in March. As a small team, they have had many accomplishments and performing new skills as they've added stunts to their performances at our home basketball games and even joining the teams in Fairview. The drill team has found much success in their recent competition season, attending both Williston and Minot Invitationals, receiving first, second, and third place. These girls are doing a great job choreographing these award-winning routines and are looking forward to performing at Class C tournaments. Speech, drama, and debate teams have grown a lot this season, with many members making it to finals at state and divisionals. They have made it into the top 3 places at many competitions and are excited for the next season. The Screaming Eagle Pep Band has wrapped up a busy fall sports season and is proud to support all the Eagle athletic teams. One of the band members has attended the All-State Music Festival, one of the most prestigious opportunities for high school students. The band performed in their fall showcase concert, with many also representing our school at the Minot Northwest Festival of Music in November. Band members participated in the District 11 Festival in Glendive with a fantastic performance and showed great leadership to younger and newer musicians. The band is excited to support Eagle basketball teams and are looking forward to collaborating with the drill team. The choir has had a good second quarter, with 15 members participating in District 11 Honors Festival in Glendive, where they performed and showed excellence and lots of practice. The choir concert experienced high attendance and continued to practice for their next events in the third and fourth quarter. For our leadership class is a relatively new class at Sidney High School, taught by Mrs. Garjo. Our semester 1 project, we took time to prepare homemade Christmas meals, delivering them to hospital staff and law enforcement working over Christmas Eve, to show our support to them and thank them for sacrificing their time over the holidays. For our school-sponsored clubs, the winter brings slower months for Leo Club, but they are sending care packages to the Cancer Center and helping with the Sunrise Women's Clinic, and they're planning future projects and attending Lions meetings. Key Club has been busy volunteering around the Sidney community. We have worked to prepare homemade dog treats to donate to vet clinics. They have been working with the Boys and Girls Club Association to make crafts and read to the children. The club hopes to have people attend the district convention in Billings to represent their club and round out the year well. The Close-Up has been doing amazing things in order to raise money for their trip to Washington, D.C., with their most upcoming event being the Senior versus Faculty game. The FCCLA Club has begun to find its way with many new members of the club by attending events like regionals and promoting the club's spirit within the school during doing Dare and Red Ribbon Week. They also have been proactive in finding ways to give back to the community by shopping for homeless and sick. The Sidney FFA has been up to many different fun activities and competitions where they continue to excel, with the most recent being ag mechanics and ergonomy, where the teams have qualified for state. They will attend new events soon in Ritchie and have been doing many community service activities, helping serve food at the Sunrise Women's Clinic Gala and the Cattlemen's Ball. And National Honor Society has been productive and involved with their Dollars for Scholars Fund, bringing in even more money than last year's senior scholarships, and now working towards tutoring students and providing any help the school can bring. Thank you.
Good job. Thanks, Owen.
Thank you.
You okay?
You gonna be alright?
Albert.
You okay? Need some water, Zoe? Not breathing, nothing talking.
and behavior team meeting on January 30th, so they discussed students, they did their STAR testing again, so in reading and math, they discussed where they're at academically and behaviorally, and they talked about certain interventions for specific students for both of those, and then the family math night was January 30th. Central School, they've got I Love to Read month going on right now. February is always big for that at the elementary schools. And they had the big music program for the 4th grade on Thursday, February 6th. That was the recorders. I will say,
Never heard hot cross buns any better in your life.
hey, this is the thing. It was still on the agenda for playing, right? They still played it, but they came out to Eye of the Tiger.
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was one of the better ones that I've gone to. Unfortunately, this is my third. I only have one left, but it was really good for going to a recorder concert. Middle school, Mrs. Johnson included an absence and behavior chart that you can kind of take a look at. Those are always good just to kind of monitor, and a lot of times there's correlation between the two. End of semester celebrations for academics and behaviors are going on February 13th. And she also included a newsletter that she sent out to parents here this last week. High school, I'm going to have Mr. Dennison speak later to the flooring. He was sick pretty much all last week, so I don't think he had a chance to get that done. Special ed, they have their child find preschool screening tonight and tomorrow night. And then they're also up for their 5-year state monitoring. That's kind of their accreditation report for that program. Mr. Barnhart included information in his on the curriculum side, but the national conference that's coming up, we're going to send 3 administrators to that. It's in New Orleans. There's going to be a lot of information on, first of all, nationwide topics that are affecting education, and then also kind of starting to look at, and we need to get a little bit more proactive with the AI side of things and determining. Obviously, you can use AI negatively, but how can we bring it in and make it a positive impact for our students? Then you also talked about they're in the process of reviewing the language arts curriculum because we're going to be up for buying a new series K through 8. 6 through 8 is always kind of up for question on whether or not they use novels or things like that, but we're looking at programs specific, well, for sure K through 2 and then 3 through 5, but we want to try to find the K through 5 for sure. I included on page 10 for the superintendent report, before I get to that, this was that STARS Act. This is the information from that, so they give you a calculator spreadsheet. Tracy's gone through this. This probably wouldn't be like 100%, but it's going to be very, very close. So you still get your quality educator payment. If you remember 2 years ago, we had the discussion to try to get that extra payment. We bumped our base pay at the time up to, it was like 41,000, I want to say. And I have to give praise to you for doing that. As you look through these spreadsheets and you see what we have for our salary matrix, there's a lot of schools that are going to go through this, and they're going to be increasing their base for a lot less money than we're getting. So if you look over here on page 10, if you look in the green, you've got the increased revenue, the increased expense, and then your net revenue. So the 0 on the increased expense means that we are above the threshold for what their minimum on the base, and then the average salary with the rest of your staff comes out. There's a formula for that, and we're doing really well as far as that. If you go all the way over to fiscal year 2030, where you see we have to increase by 6,000, that's if our base stayed where it's at by the time you get out to 2030. Next year, our base will already go above that. So we'll be getting at least this much for the next that many years. So this is just the elementary side. Elementary will get an additional, this next year we would be looking at getting an additional 350,000. And then on the next page, on page 12, the high school, obviously you're looking at 4 grades, so it's going to be less, but you're looking at another 166,000 there. So honestly, being proactive and making those changes before it's going to be beneficial for us in the future. Okay. Why is my superintendent report not in? Yeah, I know that's this thing like 3 times today too.
It's not in there in the PDF.
I'm guessing that's what happened. Okay, enrollment. So, total enrollment now, 1,238. Last month was 1,232, increase of 6 students since January. Calendar of events, there's a pile of things going on, as Zoe talked about. We've got closing up, speech and drama is done. We're closing up a lot of these winter seasons here with state wrestling next weekend. Just a lot going on as far as that goes. And the middle school sports, they'll be wrapping up actually this month as well here within about the next 2 weeks. So it'll be a busy month though when you start to look at it, as we're hosting 2C, and I believe we have the Eastern C Division again this year. So those 2 events, they're great for the community. They are really tough on custodians. So they've got a lot of work to do here this month, and then hopefully we'll get them to a point where they get a little bit of a break. Buildings and grounds, Central, we just kind of continuing on with that. The concrete seal is done. That was done with Corland, and then they'll have the particle board replacement this spring, the cement replacement for the spring in the back of the building there. High school, Bell and Intercom, we're still waiting on Nathan is working on that. We're a lot farther along with that, but it's not complete yet. Middle school, we have that underground sprinkler situation. I'll work with Greg on that. I would rather abandon a line and kill some grass than what we were given for an estimate to fix a line. So we'll figure something out. West side, they really have nothing going on right now in admin. We had the boiler installed. We did have somebody come in from Big Sky.
I can't even take any of it.
They're cleaning out our ducts. They haven't been done, they don't think, since the building was purchased. Not when we purchased it, but from when it was originally done. So it was time for that. Curriculum, admin team met on Tuesday, February 4th. We talked about our next steps with Atlas. And then we talked a little bit about the reading program that's coming up. Atlas, Mr. Barnhart and I met with the Atlas lead team to discuss the progress, the curriculum project at each building. And really kind of the timeline for completing the first phase. The majority of them want to start vertical alignment. So we're going to start doing some of that. However, when we talk to Atlas, there's a piece to that specifically works with vertical alignment. So we're going to get them training first on that, and then we'll move into vertical alignment. So it's kind of pushing our timeline back a little bit, but we were actually quite a ways ahead from where we thought we would be. So we're looking more at finishing up this first phase beginning of we'll finish it the first semester next year, and then we'll start moving on to other subjects. Finance, desktops and Chromebook replacements. We'll put out the bid for replacing 300 Chromebooks for the 25-26 school year. And then we're looking at replacing a bunch of desktops. So those we'll be getting pricing for 80, 120, and 160 desktop computers. I think we say this all the time, but I don't know the truth in it. The Chromebooks, the life expectancy used to be 5 years, now it's 8 years. Maybe it is, maybe, I don't know. I mean, but so if it is true, I mean, that's kind of good news for us. We can hopefully lessen the amount we're getting in some of these cycles. And then the same with desktop computers. Monthly events, so I attended the NEMAS for the legislative update. I'm going to skip over most of that because the majority of what we discussed was the STARS Act. And I already showed you kind of those charts for the STARS. So that's something that it has not passed yet, but it sounds like it's in a pretty good place to pass. There's definitely some interesting bills out there, and I've sent you the one spreadsheet. I'll keep sending you some of those. I got another one today. I wanted to wait until House Bill 320. That was a tax credit one that it would basically go to fund private education, but it was a big one. Like, you could have a partial enrollment of your student in public education and pull their full A and B for yourself for the tax credit for a private school. So, I don't know. But it passed by a pretty narrow margin. It was like 51-48. Yeah. So we're hoping, and that's in the House. The House is very much more I would say they're pretty like-minded in how they're voting for most things. The Senate's a little bit more split. So potentially, if it gets through the House, hopefully it'll get shot down in the Senate. Threat assessment review team. We met on February 4th to review one threat assessment. When they went through the process at Central, there was no credible threat found. So we review those as they come in. We haven't had one. Oh, dang it, why did I say that? We don't have anything to review tomorrow, I don't think. District strategic plan, we met, the admin team met on February 4th to review and discuss the strategic plan. This is done consistently at our weekly meetings. Certified teachers, we have CTE that we're advertising for, elementary, special education, 5 elementary positions. Sorry, one was a K1 position. Middle school social studies teacher. We currently have that filled, but we're not, the person that filled it was a student teacher last semester. They've taken the contract for this semester. We have it open just in the event that she doesn't necessarily want to take it, but Mrs. Johnson's kind of been in communication with her, so we'll kind of work on that. And then middle school English teacher, we did have middle school English, Mrs. Sullivan sent in her resignation letter.
She did.
I think she did, yeah. I thought I saw it, so.
She's retiring, she's retiring.
Yeah, so, okay. Then we have resignations, Susan Iverson, middle school paraprofessional, Charwin Anderson, central custodian, Audley Flynn, Westside guidance and counselor, Maria Jensen, middle school title tutor, and then transfers Karen Munoz. She was a middle school paraprofessional, she was transferred to Westside. That's the superintendent. Apologies for that.
Let's move the consent agenda.
Okay, consent agenda starts on page 15. Those would be your January minutes. If you have a chance, take a peek through those. If there's any changes that we need to make, please let us know and we'll get those taken care of. Financial reports start on page 19. You have the check register there. If you have questions ever on some of those things, Tracy and I can typically let you know.
Look at this one.
Oh yeah, sorry. Look at the stapled one that she gave you. I think we were missing one or something out of there. So, the MasterCard wasn't on there?
Yeah.
It's a big one.
That's kind of a big one.
Should just left it off.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Page 22 is the start of the budgeted funds report of expenditures through December. And then on page 23 would be the budgeted funds report of revenue through December. Page 24, that would be the general fund revenue received versus anticipated by type of revenue through December. And then on page 25, the 11-month comparison through December of 24. That's the one place where you do see the oil and gas is on there, if you wanted to take a look at that. And keeping in mind that we do use the oil and gas at the beginning to fill the additional 30% to get to our max budget. So that's why it's not like we can just take all of oil and gas and just put it right into that flex fund, or we have to use that for our funding schedule too. Which is why we don't have to run a mill levy for that. Cash balances, they're on page 26. And then the oil and gas distribution starts on page 27. And that's a comparison as well from last year. You can see last year to this year. County treasurer reports on page 28. With their breakdown of investments starting on page 29. And then we get into ASB register, the check register for ASB on page 31. That's quite a few pages. I talked to Tracy, we'll try to consolidate that down a little bit for next month. And that's the other thing. Tracy does have, sorry, quick sidebar. Tracy has a new program that she can print reports that may look a little more easy, I guess, to read. If it's something that you would be interested in, we can try a board meeting with them just to see what you like better. But they seem to be, they're a little bit more user friendly and they're easier page 1, sorry, not page 1, that's page 1 of the contract. Page 53 is our TR6 bus route reimbursement claim. We have to submit those after each semester to get money for the bus routes. Page 52, I'm guessing that must be the high school side of it then. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, page 55, so we approved the professional development plan last meeting. I missed a piece, so if you look in February, I did add in the IEFA, which is Indian Ed for All, training and resources for our staff, so that's included in that, that's a requirement from the state. Page 57, I really want to find a way to word this so I don't have to change this every year, but I don't know if there's a way around it because they want a specific date. So our registration this summer will end July 24th. Last year was the 25th, so I struck the 25th and I added the 24th. That'll be the first reading of that board policy. That's the only change.
Would it hurt us to just make it July 1st?
I mean, we could.
Because I mean, I know obviously some of the AA schools are doing it in February.
They are. We probably could. I'm thinking of, we talked about that and there was a reason why we wanted to, what was the deal? It had something to do with dates. Like we had to, I think if we do that, I think we have to have a board meeting within so many days of them turning that in, is what it turned into. Let me look at that. But it seems like they're supposed to make a decision about their request within X amount of days.
I think it's 10.
Yeah, I think it was 10. So that would mean July board meeting.
Okay. So let's do it June 1st.
You do that too.
The only thing is if it's based off of numbers, we may not have registration numbers.
That's right. To be able to approve or deny. That's why we have it that way, so we know how many are in each, because there's the piece of the strategic plan where we say 90% of the state accreditation, so we can look at the numbers that are in each class. And if we hit, so say for 3rd grade, it's 23. Once we hit 19 kids,
Okay.
then we can deny.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that.
I was just thinking that it would be nice to put something in like the 3rd Thursday of July, because that would be always when we would have
Right.
registration.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, if it's August 1st is 2nd, or is a Tuesday, then it wouldn't be the 14th until we had a board meeting. You know what I mean? So we'd be past the 10 days.
We probably would be fine with August 1st. I mean, that would be close enough. It's closer than it is now, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm trying to figure out.
So we don't have to do this every year.
Yeah, so you don't have to read through this. I mean, and the minute we figure out a solution, they'll change, and we'll have to change the whole policy anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think about it. It
Yeah,
doesn't
let me
really
think.
matter to me what day we do it, but again, if we can simplify our process,
Sure.
that's fine. But yeah, I don't think we want to go too far away from registration because just more of a hassle.
Numbers make it pretty nice to work with on
Yeah.
whether we can approve or not.
Yep. Okay.
If you look on page 61 and 62, they're both notice of election resolutions. One of them is for mail ballot. The other one is for in-person and mail. Obviously, you have to have the mail option. So, I would say the majority of the votes that we get, I don't want to speak to specific data because I don't have it, but the majority of the votes that we do get are by mail. So we thought if we wanted to do a by mail ballot, we can. We probably have a little more participation with those than the actual poll ballots, but it honestly makes no difference to us. I just wanted to give you the option to decide if you wanted to do in person or if you wanted to do mail ballots, because they're still going to do mail ballots, but yeah.
I think we pretty much go with what the people in the office that are counting the votes want. Nikki kind of liked to have it in person as opposed to the mail only, but if you prefer mail only, we'll do mail only.
No, I don't care. We have a lot of absentee now.
Right.
So there is a lot of mail. But either way, I have to have 3 election judges for either one
Right.
to count it, so it makes no difference to me.
seniors to vote for.
Maybe we should try mail.
You wanna do mail again this year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's just try.
then we have on there about the technology fund.
Yeah.
And then the general fund, we can take that off.
Right,
So you know.
right, yeah. I mean, there's
Yep.
times we don't have, run an election at all.
Yeah.
There is, yep. And then the other thing is, we always put those levies on there, just in case we need to run. But we
Yep.
have to give them so much time to let them know.
Yep.
Okay, and consent agenda is ready when you are. Alright, approval of minutes, all recorded board meeting minutes must be reviewed and approved at the following board meeting. As you review the meeting minutes, please make note of any additions or changes that need to be made. Recommend to approve the board meeting minutes for board meeting on 1/13/25 with any noted or necessary agreed upon changes. Warrants and claims in accordance with board policy 7326. All financial obligations and disbursements must be properly documented. The documentation must specifically describe the goods, services acquired, and the proper budget item for appropriation. I recommend to approve all claims, payments, and cancellations as presented. ASB accounts and transfers. In accordance with board policy 7425, the board of trustees should conduct a monthly review of the ASB account balances reported by the deputy fund custodian. Recommend to approve ASB balances, transfers, payments, and voided checks as presented above. TR6 bus route reimbursement. The district receives bus route reimbursement claims each semester to be reviewed by the board and sent to the state for reimbursement. This is something we not traditionally have to do, but is now requested by our auditors. I will now eliminate that sentence because I think I've read that to you now at least 6 times. We'll continue to review and approve these in the future. Recommend to approve the bus route reimbursement claim for the 24-25 school year first semester. 24-25 professional development plan, that was board policy. Nope, this is different. The plan that I gave you included the Indian After All in February. I recommend to approve the 24-25 district professional development plan. First reading of board policy 3141, non-resident student enrollment. We changed the date from the 24th to the 25th to the 24th. I recommend to approve the first reading of board policy 3141 to reflect the change of the application deadline. Trustees resolution calling for an election. I recommend to approve the trustee resolution calling for an election on May 6, 2025 for the purposes listed in the resolution. And a mail-in election.
Yep.
Okay, new hires. Melissa Bowman, middle school study hall supervisor, Doroteo Escalario, central custodian, Tammy Hennigan, bus driver, Jewel Almeida, preschool sped aid. Recommend to approve the employment of the recommended hires for the 24-25 school year pending reference background checks. That's a consent agenda.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. If you guys wanna get your things signed, you guys can leave.
Come on up. You bet. Okay, discussion action agenda, tenure teacher contract renewals. So we have the tenured teacher contracts this month. Next month we will do non-tenured, yeah, we'll kind of go from there. So the tenured certified teacher contract renewals are presented for consideration for the 25-26 school year. An exhibit is attached listing tenured teachers recommended for contract renewal. All teachers in these categories are recommended for renewal. Recommend to approve the 25-26 certified tenured teacher contracts as presented.
And these are all currently tenured teachers?
All currently tenured. We'll do the 4th contract teachers at the next meeting as well.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the tenured teacher contracts?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, so I have the next 2 items. That would be the licensed employee contracts, and the administrator contracts. They're together. On page 68, I recommend to approve the 25-26 administration and licensed contracts as presented.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, during the January 2025 board meeting, the fall coaches were voted on for renewal for the 25-26 season. The board did not take action on assistant coaches to allow the AD and varsity coaches time to review and consider renewal for all fall assistant coaches. This approval is for all fall activity coaches. Recommend to approve the rehire of all listed assistant high school, middle school, and elementary fall activity assistant coaches for the 25-26 school year as presented.
A motion.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Moved and second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we were looking at, and we've talked about, so basically the flooring that we put in at the high school last year, they did it up in the top there in the gym. We're looking at doing that. I had Carl get an estimate on what it would take to do the main. So if you went in from, say, the south entrance all the way to the north entrance, it would be for that. It would be for the boys and girls bathroom, and there's the girls bathroom, the 200 wing, the boys bathroom, the 100 wing, and then the bathrooms, and the bathrooms on the other side, and then the concessions area, that small concessions area would be what this would be for. And I'll let Carl talk to this a little bit more because I know he knows more about it. The one thing that we'll need to take into consideration when we have this type of a project, there's going to definitely be a cost savings for it. And he knows, he talked to Brenda about kind of the cost that it is for us to, like, for just that amount to wax every year. And I don't think she included the cost of labor for that. So it's one of those things that it's supposed to last a long time. It's durable. And to me, as we start to look at the number of custodians that even have the skill of waxing tile floors, this is something we're going to probably have to look at doing in almost every building that we have with all of our tile. We do have fortunately, like in Central, in the two remodeled areas, we have the tile it's very low maintenance tile. It's essentially like this. You don't have to do anything with it. So that it's very nice for the custodian side of it. West side, theirs is going to be similar now that we've done the flooring in there. So really, it's totally up to you. I know we just spent a lot of money. This is, to me, sometimes you look at these and it's a little bit of an investment, so you're not paying a company when you get to the point where you don't have custodians that can do this, you're paying a company to come in and do it. So I'll let you talk a little bit, Carl.
So it's a little bit different than what we did in the upper. That was an epoxy flake install. This is actually just taking the terrazzo tile back down to what it originally was. So there's about 8 years worth of wax on that tile. So when Brenda came back to the district, they had stripped it down, put a product on that was not made to go on it, and she was able to get that off of there after about 3 years of work. That was the first 3 years I was in the district, and then started re-waxing it. So there's about 27 layers of wax on there that she just doesn't have the crew in the manpower to be able to strip it every single year. We talked to Bruco, which is the company that we buy our wax from last year, to get a bid because they will come in and do that. They're also the company that does our gym floor. So we talked about trying to pair with them before the company out of Williston came in and did that upper unit. And just to strip it, they quoted us that he assumed it would be somewhere between $12,000 and $15,000 for his crew to come in and do that space. So taking that into account, it costs, without Brenda's labor, just our average custodial labor, it takes 160 hours worth of work to do the main hallway. So 4 days, 4 people, at their average rate, it came out to be about just under $5,000, and that included the wax a year to do that. The floors that they use the new product on, which basically they'll take it down to the regional tile, put a hardening agent on it. That way there's no damage. You can drive essentially a truck across it. They put it in the Wofford City's new expo center that they have over there. It's what's on their coating. It's similar
off
No,
for
we
the summer?
have enough entrances where you get in, kids into anywhere we need to be.
Okay.
No, we looked at the 100 wing where we held summer school last year. We could use accessory parking around the kitchen and on that end of the building to get everybody in and out. We'll be okay.
Okay. No, I think we move forward.
There's access to the bathrooms during summer school?
Yep.
They can use the bathroom?
Yep. So actually, the room that we have has a bathroom attached to it that we'll be able to utilize.
Yeah, I mean, again, spending more money, but, I mean, the floors look good. I was just in the Egg Center Saturday, and their floors look good. Obviously, they get a lot of traffic. So yeah, we'll have shiny white floors and cold air. We'll be doing all right.
Nice.
It's gonna look so much bigger and be so much more comfortable. Yeah, no, I think we move forward with the bid. Obviously, they did good work on what they did before.
Yeah, it's fabulous
Yeah, it looks
upstairs.
great up there, so.
Yeah. You guys got anything? You guys got any concerns? I mean, it's one of those things, I mean, we got so much traffic coming in that area, if we don't do something with it, we're gonna, long-term have an issue that's gonna cost us a heck of a lot more money.
It makes Brenda happy.
Well, that's the other thing. That's what we talked about taking. Now she can. I mean, it takes about 2 weeks when you factor in like dry time and things like that. We kind of narrowed it down to those 4 days, being if we were able to do it. Brenda's talking about maybe even taking a summer vacation, which is like unheard of. So
There you go.
not that it's all for her, like it's definitely a plus to.
Well, no one gets to use the gym all summer, so she doesn't really
Yeah,
yeah, no, I think we move ahead with it. It's building maintenance is something you can't push off because then it just gets more expensive and a bigger hassle down the road. If they got a product that works and if it lasts us 10 years, right there you basically broke even. So, no, I think we move ahead. But, so do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to get the floors redone at the high school.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, last item. We had a request for a leave of absence for next school year. So next year, in looking at the second grade team, they'll need one less teacher due to their numbers. She's wanting to spend time at home with her young kids, and then wanting to return to work the following year. We don't work a ton with these. We have a little bit. I don't have a huge problem with it. If you start to look at teacher recruiting, it is always nice to know that you have somebody returning. I wish that there were the thing about it is we're putting this out there for ourselves right now, saying, yeah, we'll agree to do this. The only concern I ever have is that the teacher's not going to return if they don't return. Is there a penalty in that case if that's, to me, you wouldn't have her on the insurance. I would freeze her leave where it's at. So whatever she has accumulated in sick leave, you can freeze that. And you'd freeze where she's at in terms of her tenure, like wherever she's at on the scale. And then the last thing that you would do is you wouldn't give her, so obviously if she were given a contract next year, she'd be given this year for experience, so she'd move down one. You'd freeze that, and that's the contract that she would get the next year.
Right.
So that's kind of how I've looked at it. Like, to me,
Would you let her cover the insurance or no?
I would, but I think, I don't think she takes our insurance.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't want to speak a ton to it because we maybe need to go into a closed session if we do that, because obviously there's some privacy things that would go along with that, but.
Yeah, I mean, obviously without discussing the person, I guess in general, I don't have an issue with it because I wonder, let's put it that way, can we put like a commitment date with this? You know what I mean? Because if she doesn't doesn't come back, she doesn't come back. It'd be the same as if she came back and then resigned next year.
Right, right.
You know, but it'd be nice to have a date so we know for sure. That would be my only thing. How many elementary spots are we listing that we need?
Well, there's another piece for some of that as well. When you have teachers that are on different licensures. You have
Oh,
to
okay.
advertise.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay, yeah, because I didn't think we had a lot of space, and then all of a sudden we have like 5 listings, so it's, okay, no, that makes sense.
so strategic advertising.
No, and that's completely fine. Yeah, I personally don't have an issue with this. Again, you know, we may have to bring this up again, get some clarification. Can we add that caveat of like, hey, we need a decision by, you know, whatever date?
Yeah, and I think with this being what it is, if you look through our master agreement, there's no language about leave of absence like this. So
Right.
to me, we could probably make a contract how we would want it to be. Not a contract, but we could say, like you said, a commitment date. To me, you would like to have that commitment date be probably the February board meeting the following year. That's about when you start to see people with retirements, you see people with, you get an idea of where things are gonna fall, I guess. So I would say February or March, if we have a commitment date from her, that would probably be about when you'd want that.
Oh. Stuff dropping all over. It's a rough meeting. Yeah, honestly, I mean, it, just like everything we do, it sets a precedence. From the standpoint of the union and that aspect, I think, you know, freezing where she's at, acting like this next year it just doesn't exist, is probably the way we have to do it. Again, the insurance, like, you know, offering COBRA, that would be, you know, standard, I think, but you know, she's not on our regular insurance, or if someone else chooses to follow this path, they wouldn't be on our insurance for that year. Yeah, I think as long as we can get a commitment from the person, you know, like you said, in February, March the next year, it really doesn't affect us. That, you know, where you come into it is if we had to replace this person.
Yeah.
Well, right now we're not, it doesn't look like we need to fill the spot. So the person isn't leaving us hanging short a teacher where you'd hire a teacher and then, oh, I'm back, and now we have an extra teacher, we gotta figure it out. So in that regard, I'm fine with it. You know, I think they may not always agree, but we try to do the best for our staff.
Yeah, and I'm with you on the whole thing. The only piece that I've looked at with this is what type of precedent we set when, you know, anytime, you know, somebody brings somebody else into the family, they want to take a year off to be with. Like, that would be the only thing that would scare me a little bit, because I don't.
We're just gonna have to make sure it's we deal with it one at a time, and it's just
Yeah, and if you're leaving us one short,
I was gonna
that's
say, that's a
completely
little bit
different.
different.
Right, yeah,
There's
again, that's what I mean.
the year we don't need her,
Right.
so.
Right.
And that's where, to me, it's like, I think as long as we understand that's the precedent, that's okay. As long as we're not losing a job and we have to hire somebody for it, I mean, I think this one's probably okay.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't come back, is there some sort of action we take?
Be able to be,
No, it'd just be a standard resignation.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess, and I think that in that regard, we would probably, it's such a weird thing legally, right? I think that we almost have to offer COBRA to have her deny it.
yeah.
Because that way, in a year, we don't have to offer COBRA.
yeah,
Because even though they're not under contract,
right.
they kind of are. I mean, they are and they aren't, right? It's a semantics thing.
We'll offer it. I don't believe.
I'd offer it no matter what.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll do that.
Yep. No, again, you know, obviously, right now she intends to come back. I think that we
the February board meeting. And then, you know, hope that she misses teaching and comes back.
Absolutely.
Okay. Got it all done. So do I have a motion to approve the request for leave absence? Leave of absence with a commitment to the board by the February 2026 board meeting.
I'll move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I just make sure you, the February, and you're gonna give it Cobra too, we've got that in the verbiage. Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anyone else have anything before we go to a executive session? Thank you guys for coming. The next matter to come before the board is a personal matter.
Okay, yes.
If the matter of the individual's privacy is involved, that such privacy demands protection of the individual and otherwise little, if anything, can be gained by publicly disclosing the information